What would you do if there was a major threat that can destroy all humanity and you have limited time to stop it? Or should I ask, what do you do now? Since it's the main and actually not hidden question of the movie Don't Look Up. But first, I'm Ömer Faruk and I will be sharing my thoughts about this controversial movie. For the few people who don't know about this movie, it tells us the story of an astronomer and his young student discovering a massive comet on its way to Earth and will destroy all humanity in 6 months and 14 days. Then they try to publish it for everyone to know, and so the necessary actions will be taken and humanity will be saved once again. This is the main theme of the movie, and the movie sets its criticism and much more on the people's reactions to this horrific news. I'm saying controversial because while some people seriously love this movie, some other people discussed it. This actually applies to me and my brother too. We watched it together and he barely kept watching because I wanted him to. On the other hand, I seriously enjoyed this movie. I had my fun, it made me laugh several times, but unfortunately I can't say that it's a good movie. I mean, I know it has a lot to say about our society, and most of its criticisms are accurate, but the way it shows us, the way it tells us them, feels lacking. At the first 10 to 20 minutes, I thought I was gonna watch a serious movie, but then Mrs. President showed up. And at that moment, I understood that it was not gonna be a serious movie, and it's gonna be an absurd movie.
I say we sit tight and assess.
But the first interaction of audience with the absurd side of this movie is with the most absurd character of it, and it is kinda too much at the beginning. I kinda understand why people lose connection at this exact moment because I felt the same and I almost stopped watching. As I watched the movie, I felt like something was off. I mean, not the philosophy, not the ideas of the movie, definitely not the cinematography, but Jennifer Lawrence's acting, yes. I think it's one of her worst performances, and she's only good when she's wearing a bag up her head. Okay, this is not just a burn, she really uses her voice very effectively. I mean, she has this deep, almost wild voice, and when she curses, you kind of want to hear it more. And confession time, it may sound kind of kinky, but I want Jennifer Lawrence to swear to me. But maybe the bad acting is not just all her fault. I know that Adam McKay wrote this Tibiaski character especially for Jennifer Lawrence, but the movie's deal is exaggerating stuff, even the actings. And this is not the way we usually see Jen, right? And that's why it's perfect for DiCaprio. He kills it. Adam McKay and Leonardo DiCaprio wrote this entire scenario together before he finally signs up to be in this movie. To be fair, the other performances were pretty good too. I especially loved Mark Rylance as the evil CEO, Peter Argerwell. His character is a mix of Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg. Yeah, it's not the easiest, but he nailed it. He seriously acts like a realistic robot. I mean, too realistic. Also, his makeup, it's so well done. He almost looks like CGI generated. I mean, like, back in normal days, we would say, look at this CGI, how realistic it looks. Now, the real life looks like CGI.
This is the end.
Okay, let's forget about this AI invasion thing and let's move to this snack issue. And why did this silly commander charge $10 for free snacks? Well, I'm not gonna give you straight answers, nor I think there is one, but I can give you some hints that maybe fasten your thinking process. So, let's think about the things that normally should be free, but your government or companies take money from you for it, like healthcare or education. Or maybe you can think about the taxes of vital goods, like milk or vegetables. Why do you pay taxes for them? Just think about it. That was a totally smart scene, but it's still not enough to make Don't Look Up a good movie. And here is why. First of all, almost every reference or satirizing except this snack one is so obvious, and the people's reactions are portrayed really poorly and a bit far from being realistic. The portrayal of global warming as a massive comet is a hell of a good idea. But when you do that, you can't just copy people's reactions to actual global warming. It's kind of not convincing. I get that when the movie is too absurd, you kind of don't give a shit about these plot holes. But hey, there they are. Also, the Trump portrayal. Okay, it was so repulsive, so humiliating, and so disturbing. I asked myself, why? Seriously, was it necessary? But I still think that we can focus on the thoughts of the movie rather than its cinematic issues. Okay, be honest. When was the last time you did something good for the environment? When was the last time you think of homeless people and our economical systems that can't do anything about them? Yeah, it's a lot easier to focus on some celebrities' lives rather than economic or environmental problems, and I think it has to change, but I don't think Don't Look Up will make any difference. The problem with those kind of movies is that they criticize the system that they are already a big part of. I mean, you criticize capitalism, right? But dude, you are already in Netflix, and your stars like DiCaprio or Jennifer Lawrence earn tons of money out of it. You probably already heard that the biggest reason for Leonardo DiCaprio to be in this movie was the environmental problems. Okay, I don't know about you guys, but this one looks like a bigger reason to me. Okay, I know that he could be in other movies and make like what, 50 million, like 60 million dollars, but this is still 30 million dollars, and you can't just criticize capitalism when you're just making 30 million out of a movie. And this was the second reason why I don't think it's a good movie. I mean, how different it is from this one. It makes you think that you're not alone. It makes you think that there are other people who really cares about the environment, like you. But when the movie ends, you just turn your TV off and get back to your real life without any change, but with the thoughts that you are a responsible person and care for the environment. How is it gonna change anything? By saying you, I don't mean just you. We all are the same, and that's kinda sad when you think about it. But what can be done? Can you really escape the system? You probably can't, but this shouldn't stop you. There are tons of volunteer projects that can make a difference. I will share some that I know personally, and maybe you can share one in the comments below. By the way, global warming and capitalism are not the only things that Don't Look Up satirize. It has a lot to say about social segregation too. But again, it can't do it in the right way. You know, Meryl Streep's character is an obvious duplicate of Donald Trump, right? The President Orlean. Okay, then the people who vote for her are actually a portrayal of more than 60 million Americans who voted for Donald Trump. And how could you fight segregation when you picturize more than 60 million people as blind for truth morons? You can't do it like that. It's not the right way, and it shouldn't be. Okay, long story short, Don't Look Up is a fun movie, and I can recommend it if you have a night to spend, but consider it's a long one with 2.5 hours of screenplay. But it's not the movie that you wanna think deep about it. It has a lot to say about our society, and it's mostly accurate, but the way it tells us them, far from it should be told. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed my video, and if you did, please be a bigger part of this monstrous capitalist and attention-seeking system and hit this like button. Actually, this subscribe button looks quite charming too. Maybe you wanna hit on? And finally, see you next week in the next video.